Hello, this is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Singo TV, channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Singo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. I am really happy to have today my good friend Juan Antonio. Uh, I believe you are in Orlando, right?
Yeah, your belief is true.
That's great. So, thank you for being here with us, Juan Antonio. Today, we are going to go deep in something that I know that you are very passionate about, that is liberating minds. Uh, So let's start with what are you doing now? What is exactly that liberating minds? What that means? Why I need to liberate my mind? That's something very intriguing.
Yeah. Well, basically, my work for over 10 years has been practicing NLP. When you do your first certification as a practitioner, it actually says licensed practitioner of neurolinguistic programming. So that means that you get a license to practice your skills, and you get to work with people in some companies, or you can do one-on-one sessions. So basically, when we're working with a person, remember or learn, depending on which level are you, that your conscious mind is where you put your awareness, like a flashlight in a cavern. So where you put the flashlight, that's where your awareness goes. But unconsciously, our five senses are still working, right? So,
Right.
for example, when you make out a new goal in your life, you have to make that both of your minds have to be aligned on the goal, because one of the coolest example is, for example, think of the route that you normally take every day on your car from your house to the kids school or to the gym or to your work or whatever. Imagine that as soon as you arrive, I'm out there and I say, hey, Alejandro, how many times did you hit the brakes? How many times did you hit the gas? How many times you put the left sign signal on? So the common answer is, I don't have a fucking clue. And yet, you cannot deny that in this universe, you actually did it, even though you were not aware. So that's where our unconscious mind comes to do between 90 and 95% of our decisions, because this is not a philosophical thing. You decided to brake, you decided to hit the gas based on how you learned. So if you want to achieve a new goal, technically, you haven't become competent in the skills that you need to accomplish it. So
Yeah.
if it's more money, if it's losing weight, gaining weight, if it's I don't know, a new job, a new career, you have to see yourself. You have to see yourself in the mirror and say, all right, what if this was a marathon, a 42 kilometer marathon? All right, this is my new goal. So I'm going to start running, and about of the 42, and around 2 kilometers, for example, you're like dying. All right. So this is the point in which you realize that you are only competent to run 2 kilometers.
Mm.
So you don't get mad with life. You don't get mad with the road. Same thing as a mountain. You want to hike a mountain, and 42 kilometers, for example, at 2 kilometers, you're dying. Well, you cannot get mad with a mountain. The mountain has been there for generations and generations. So it's you that haven't become yet your version with the beliefs and the skills to reach your goal. All right. So
Yeah.
when people don't realize that unconsciously you may have a difference, or you may have a limiting belief in that goal. And I'm going to give you very simple examples that happen to me every day. And let's talk money wise. Money wise is very simple. So you own you work in a company in which you sell insurances. So talk to people on the phone, one on one, video calls, and all that. So each time that you're paying your taxes, right, in January, February, you're like this. So believe me, your unconscious mind is getting an imprint and is getting that relationship. Paying taxes, this amount, this guy is going to die. So even though your conscious mind set the goal of making more money, so what happens if you don't know that unconsciously you have that? Remember that each person is an individual, all right? I'm just saying one example, very particular one, all right? So this guy says, I want to make more money. That means I need to do more calls. I need to learn, for example, persuasion so I can persuade better, be a better closer. So suddenly that this person, instead of earning monthly $3,000 or $4,000, suddenly he's like six and a half, 7,000. And suddenly the bank numbers go down. And people say, oh, he's self-sabotaging. No, actually, that's the term in which they sell you seminars. Do you self-sabotage? No. Actually, your unconscious mind is there to protect you. The first time you touch something red in the kitchen, that was a lesson that unconsciously and consciously you learned. So the other times that it was red, you never said, is it really hot? And no. It was already hot, but it was not red. And maybe that's why you burned yourself the second time. But never again that iron was red and you touched it. So your unconscious mind is there to protect you in a way. So if you consciously set the goal and say, oh, I want to make more money, and your actions are congruent and you develop skills and you do more calls and visits, and suddenly unconsciously you're not aware of that because that's what is unconsciously, and suddenly your conscious mind runs the long film. He's like, whoa, if this guy keeps working like this, in January of next year, he's going to have a heart attack. So unconsciously, you begin to protect yourself. I'm going to sell you a seminar. So unconsciously, you begin to self-sabotage. Make sense? So you suddenly you don't have that same energy to make the calls, those invoices that they're just waiting for you to send to the client so they can pay. You delay them and all that because your unconscious is protecting you. So my work is very, very cool because almost everybody that sets a goal is not aware their unconscious mind thinks that that's congruent. And remember, we can always change our unconscious processes through something that actually you're learning now that's called hypnosis. And hypnosis is just concentration. So if you work with somebody that knows very well hypnosis, knows very well how to communicate and to elicit what unconsciously the person is doing, then it's very simple to install a different strategy. So it's very cool. So consciously, you do this. I want to go there. I'm going to go there. All right. But when you drive 90% of the time, guess who's driving? Your other mind. And that's part of my job. So it's very cool because once you begin to change beliefs and notice that it's all about the skills, because if you say, oh, I want to buy this car, that's my goal. I'll say, all right, go ahead, buy it. But I don't have the money. So what's the goal? In this world, believe me, nothing material. And by the way, I'm very material guy. I like good cars, flying first class and all that. But remember, your goal should never be the material stuff, because your goal are not there yet, or you're not there at your goal because you have not changed simple beliefs that have keeping you where you are, and you have not learned the skills that will allow you to run the 42 kilometers, to go and get the mountain. So it's very cool. It's very cool. It's very cool.
And I love what you are talking now. If this program is called Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business. And the reason for that title is exactly what you are saying, is there is a lot of beliefs that are stopping us to become our best version, or there are some beliefs that are helping us to become the best version that we are supposed to be.
Or
So,
holding you back.
Exactly, it's both. It can be both. Some are helping you and some are stopping you and holding you back. So in regards of that, let's start with you specifically. I know that in order to you become the person that you are right now, you needed to go through some beliefs that you were feeling that that's amazing and I love it, and suddenly like, oh, this is not working me, and this is holding me back. Can you share some of them so we can start to understand how you started to change that belief and realize like, wow, suddenly I can become another person and exactly what I want to become?
Well, my case is a little bit different because I've been into sports since I can remember. So since I can remember, each time that I failed in a competition, I started swimming, then I did karate, then I did soccer and basketball, and I still play soccer and basketball. And I played in my country to a very high level. I represented the state in which I lived in two sports. But the thing is that when I wanted the medal and I didn't get it, my father always told me, is like, so what are you gonna do? He's like, no, the other guys. No. Look at the mirror. It's you against you. So what do you need to work on? Your game. So the next competition, you're better than your version of this competition. So basically, my father installed in me in a very intelligent way a daily competition against myself. So
Wow.
it was always a matter of time on which I put my mind into it. So I said, all right, I want to learn two languages. All right, what do I need to do? Well, the first thing is that I have to be in a country where nobody will fucking speak to me in Spanish. Simple as that. So I was speaking French, and somebody's like, tu parles français? Yeah. I said, yeah. Yes, I speak English. I speak French. And I was like, all right, in my mind, I said this in French, and this guy is answering me in English. He's like, "Ma, je parle français." And I said, I only speak, je seulement parle français. He's like, oh, but the French guy or the Belgium guy, he's like, well, but I can speak to you in English or Spanish. And I was like, no, Russia. So I was like, fuck, I hope he doesn't say something in Russian. So I was fucked. So I forced myself into those situations because think into the sport, I always knew that it was about the skills. If you put the work on your skills, eventually you'll reach your goal. Now, the limiting belief that I had in my job is that I owned a factory that made one medical equipment that burned the needle. So you cannot recap the needles. That's prohibited since 25 years ago by the World Health Organization. So you have to throw them in a red thing, or I built a very simple thing. It's like the half of a shoe box with a hole. So you put the needle, and in 1 second, it pulverized it because it had two metal things that heated up very fast. And once I did my first seminar of hypnosis of Dr. Richard Bandler with Paul McKenna in 2012, 2011, I have that diploma over there. I was like, wow, this is very cool, because I saw the poster in the hotel I was staying, and I was there for business. Nothing with hypnosis, nothing. And once I did that seminar, I remember that the first exercise, we were like 200 and something people. And Dr. Brown says, I know everybody has a bad memory. People call this trauma. But trauma, what is it technically? You hit yourself, right? So our body is designed to heal itself. The thing is that people are so stupid that something bad happens to them, and now when they remember, they actually don't get it, that they're hitting themselves again. And then, oh, I think I'm traumatized. I cannot stop thinking about this. So actually, in their mind, the what happened, it gets worse because they make it worse. We're stupid or intelligent, depending if you know how to run your brain. So the thing is that Dr. Bandler said, all right, everybody think of a bad memory and close your eyes. I don't remember anything about that. And I don't know, 10, 20 minutes later, I open your eyes. I saw persons beside me, or people were like waking up. And suddenly he's like, all right, tell everybody, the person beside you, what do you have for breakfast? So I watched the lady. I was like, oh, I had a coffee. And you? And she's like, I had yogurt with banana and rice and whatever. I was like, oh, I understand why you're waiting. So that's congruent. That's congruent. So suddenly Dr. Brown says, now I understand that was a breaker state, right? That was a breaker state. And, all right, try to feel better about your memory. And I remember doing like this. And I was like, am I the only one? So I started looking around, and the faces of the people were actually like searching, right? They're like, you can't, right? And we couldn't. So if somebody would have told me before the seminar, by the way, we can take bad memories away from you, we can erase memories, based on my beliefs, I will ask for my money. I will say, no, refund, because that in my map, right, in my reality, that was not possible until it happened. And that was the simple exercise that I did. And at lunch, I was like, I'm selling my company. I'm doing this. This is amazing, because like me, I bet there are millions and millions and millions of people that don't even know that you can erase a memory. And I'm going to be one of the persons that is going to be out there doing this. So that's how I really started with that fire. I was like, I know people won't believe it, and I'm kind of a polarity responder. So if you tell me this can't be done, in my mind is like, it can't be done by you. I'm going to show you.
Yeah. And I know that there is a lot of misunderstanding in regard of hypnosis, and really, even if you look for that word, suddenly you are going to start to receive a lot of like propaganda of hypnosis, that you are like this, and you are going to start to go one side and the other, and it's like, what is happening to me? So can we start to think about things that can, like, what is really hypnosis and why that is important?
All right. So hypnosis is very simple. Hypnosis is a concentration. It's a state. It's a state in which you are. And when you're going to get hypnotized, basically what you agree on with the person that's going to work with you, not on you, with you, because you know what your outcome is that with hypnosis, you can amplify what you're doing inside of your head and outside of your head. So once you're hypnotized, your conscious mind, where your beliefs are, where all this reasoning and all these excuses are just gone. So you can work on the 90% of the person. Why do I say 90% of the person? Because since you wake up until you sleep, 95% of your processes are unconscious. So that's where the magic is. So if you don't realize that something as simple as driving, 90% of the time you are driving unconsciously. Now, I hope for a lot of people, this has a different meaning, because a lot of people relate unconscious like you're not aware. No, you are aware, but in a higher level. You're making decisions unconsciously while you're driving, because you're driving. It's like, oh, I have to do this and that, or maybe you're singing, or maybe you're talking on the phone, and yet you're hitting the gas, you're hitting the brakes, turning, everything. So once you hypnotize somebody and you know exactly what are the changes that you need to do, guess what? Now, when that person returns to their environment after you work with them, instead of old habits, old behaviors, old beliefs come out to float and take charge and make them do or run those old programs, now the new behaviors, the new beliefs, the new habits come into place. And that allows the person to reach their goal faster, but still you have to sweat. All right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't think it's magic. Still you have to sweat, but it's going to be easier because now your unconscious mind and your conscious mind are aligned.
Yeah.
And basically, that is the simple explanation of what I do. If a colleague of mine says, "What do you do?" I'll just say technical. I align the conscious mind with the unconscious mind, or basically the unconscious mind with the conscious mind based on the goal that the person has, and then you let it be. That's the beauty of it.
And I know that you have done something amazing that for me it's very, very interesting that I want to know more. And it's you were working in a hospital,
Yeah.
and you were working with more than 6,000 patients. Tell me a little bit of what were you doing with them, because everything was with the subconscious mind and helping
Yeah.
them to really improve a lot of things. And so tell me, what are the things that can be fixed when you are doing this? Because it's like, no, I need a doctor for this. I need a doctor, and a doctor has to help me with this. And it's like, suddenly you started to find that there are a lot of things that are running in our subconscious in a wrong way because it's not aligned.
Yeah.
And it's creating problems.
I was doing a seminar in a hotel. I rented a hotel, right? And I did a seminar. After the seminar, somebody approached me, and it was a woman, and she said, "Oh, I love how you took the public speaking phobia of that person. The before and after was amazing." And there was a woman that had fibromyalgia, and I worked with her. And in the stage, and 20 minutes later, she was dancing with me, right, crying. She's like, "Oh, I feel healthy. I've been like this in 20 years. My God." So when I finished that, right, she approached me and says, "I want you to work for me." I was like, "Well, that's going to be a little bit challenging because I just sold my business like 2 years ago and I'm doing a new career." No, let me explain. I was like, "Good. I'm the director of a public hospital. I want you to go there and do what you do." So listen to this. This is the beauty of it. When I did my first practitioner, one of the things that I noted is that Dr. Bandler was doing obviously most of the work, half of the work. The other half was between John and Kathleen Laval. John Laval is the president of the society, and Kathleen runs it with him. And when you do a practitioner, Dr. Bandler teaches, Kathleen Laval teaches, and John Laval teaches, right? So I noticed that there were people that work with them, with those three, and they were part of the international staff. And they were very elegant in the way they taught, right? When you had a question during their exercise, their approach. And in my mind, it's like, I want to be part of the staff. And that was the first day of the 7. And in a break, I approached Dr. Bandler on stage when everybody was having coffee or so. I was like, "Dr. Bandler, I want to be part of your staff. That's my goal." And he's like, "Nope, that's not your goal." I was like, "Okay." And in my mind, it's like, "What do you mean it's not my goal?" So when I learned how we create goals in NLP, how we create the desired state, that's when I understood that effectively that was not my goal. that will be a consequence of my goal.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to develop my skills to a level that eventually they're like, hey, the Venezuelan kid, you want to be part of the team based on my work, based on my results. You get it? That mind shift. So once this lady approached me and is like, I want you to work in my hospital, in my mind, I was like, guinea pigs, practice skills. I was like, yeah, of course, but two conditions.
But let me stop you quickly, because you exactly what you are talking about, goals. I get it, but I want everybody to get it exactly what you said, because it's really amazing. We normally set goals the way that you did, that you were doing before. So what was the magic? Just to explain a little bit, and then we go back to the hospital, because that is key.
Yeah, sure. So my goal, just like a competition in basketball or in swimming, when soccer, was to win the trophy. But or when you study any career, you want that diploma. But actually, the diploma is going to be the consequence of your real goal, which is learning and improving your skills. So that's where the magic is. So eventually you develop and improve your skills and overwork to a level in which you're kind of like obsessed. Now in your field, you become different. The World Cup just finished, and a lot of players play each in their league. Premier League in England, Italia, Serie A, and the Spanish Cup. And you have players that for the 6 months that the league is in their country, they can win from $3 million to 45 for the same season. So what is the difference between this guy that plays striker and this guy that plays striker in the same league, but this is a 40 million guy and the other one is a 6 million guy? His skills. He has developed his skills to a point that in the market value, they're higher. So once you understand that if your goal is something that people can take away, you're setting the wrong goal. Your goal should be the skills that will allow you to become that person that you want. If you're fat, you're obese. People are like, fat is fat. I'm offended by fat. Well, take that word away from the dictionary then. Fat. People are getting soft. So if you're fat and you're like 90 kilos and you want to be 70 kilos, the people say, oh, my goal is to lose 20 kilos. So normally I take a machete and say, all right, which leg? All right. No, that's the easiest way. But actually, the goal is to learn in that session that you're going to have to that person, which are the beliefs that you need to change so you become a person with beliefs of 70 kilos, 70 kilos. What are the skills that you are not using so you become the person of 70 kilos? And after the session, once you go out and back into the real world, you start behaving like the person of 70 kilos. So basically, when you open your fridge and you open where you put the food, you're going to say, oh, I understand. Now I understand why I'm 90 kilos. So I need to change beliefs. I need to change everything and buy a 70 kilo kind of food. And what was my relationship with exercise the last 1 year, 20 years, 11 years? 90 kilos person. So starting tomorrow or tonight, I'm going to start doing exercise like a 70 kilo person. So that are skills, behaviors. Your goal should be behaviors and skills. Obviously, changing your beliefs. So that's how you technically set a goal, Alejandro.
And that's really important, because a lot of times I know that people know, and I did it a lot of time, even in my career, that when you want to have a diploma, yeah, I want to become an engineer, and suddenly there is a class that is very difficult, and you start to do things just to have the the grade to pass it, not to really learn it. And what you are saying here is exactly the opposite. It's like, it doesn't matter the grade, work on the skills. And when you start to work on the skills, you are going to have the grades. So it's like, change the mindset of thinking about like, okay, my goal is to have this diploma, because finally I will have like my wall full of diplomas. It's not about that. It's what are your skills, and I wanted to emphasize that, because that is for me really key for everything. Also in your business, you can be thinking, yeah, my goal is to have 100% more of money per year, and it's like, okay, that is not exactly your goal. It's what are the things that you need to learn.
How do you make your
do.
money? What are the strategies
Exactly.
that you're using to create your money, right? What are your
Exactly.
skills that you need to improve so you can make more money? Things like that.
And the money will come. Exactly. So let's go back to the hospital
All
and
right.
the experience
So
that you were
so
having
so
there.
yeah. So she told me, well, I want you to work in my hospital, and like I said, I was like guinea pigs to work on my skills. That was my goal, because eventually in my mind, maybe they were like in the staff of Dr. Ballard, hey, the Venezuelan kid, you're invited. Let's do a trial for this certification and see if you qualify. So for 5 years, I worked there for I worked there for 5 years, and I had a nurse inside where I worked, because if something happened, I'm not a medical doctor. She can do something, right? So I started in triage, right? In triage. That's when you arrive, and they ask you what do you have, and then they're all right. Go to this department, this department. So I was like, all right, good. Send me people with pain in the head, all right, headaches, migraines, stuff. So I started with that, and then the word got around a month and so that people with pain, they're like, oh, this is very good. After the trance, I was like, oh, I feel great. And what else can you do? It's like, I don't know. Tell me what's bothering you in your mind or something. So I started doing phobia. Then I started doing public speaking phobias, and then anxiety. And suddenly the nurses start going to my sessions. So the nurses were now my allies. So it didn't matter which department you were going in the hospital. If they thought that I could help, they'll send them to me. So I work with people with alopecia, right, or losing hair. I work with people with psoriasis. I work with people that had. I'm just talking about a medical thing, right? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, People with fibromyalgia. I have people with arthrosis, and then I went into more of the mind thing. And then they started sending me children, because they were hyperactive, ADD, FedEx, FBI, CIA, everything that they're engaged in. And kids with dyslexia. So you change that. And suddenly my practice was just open. I was like, all right, good. Oh, by the way, if I need an operation, I go to a doctor. I mean, it's not like I do magic. No, no, no. I do what's capable of my possibilities. But my mindset was always, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, because I was not accepting that people say, no, this is not possible. And that is part of the mindset that you have as an athlete. So if people said, oh, you cannot take this pain away, I was like, what do you mean? A doctor once told me, a doctor, dentist. We're having coffee. He's like, so what can you do for my patients? I was like, I don't know. What are you? I'm a dentist. Well, I can take the pain away. Like, no, that's not possible. All right. What do you have in the afternoon? Well, I have to do this procedure. All right, good. He was going to operate and take one tooth out, right, of a person.
Okay.
I was like, good. So I was there with him, and his patient came in, sit down in the dentist chair. So I told him, look between my eyes, take a deep breath. I did an induction, and then I did a strategy to take anesthesia in his mouth. Right.
Wow.
So then I grabbed una aguja. I grabbed a needle, and I pinched him. And do you feel this? Well, it's with anesthesia. I just feel that you're pressuring it, but there's no pain. So I looked at the doctor. He's like, "Go ahead." He's like, "All right." So he grabbed a bisturi, the little knife,
Yeah.
and did an incision. And the patient was like this. And he looked at me. I looked at him. And in my mind, I was like, "This fucking thing worked," because it was the first time I did it. But the thing is that I was not going to let fear or self-doubt ruin the first chance I had to practice something. Make sense? So that's for me. That's the mindset that separates you from people that do what you do, and how you can become even way more skilled than your colleagues. Because even if I fucked up, I would have known that way it didn't work. I would have changed it. So everything is it's an experience. And a lot of people hearing this and watching me, he's like, "Oh, he is irresponsible, working on or practicing on people." We do this every day. Doctors operate on you because you have an appendicitis. How many times have you seen then the x-ray and they forgot a scissor? The fuck? So inside of you. So it's something that happens. And your mindset should be that you, even if you have a different result that you want to achieve, you will learn. As simple as that. And that for me is where the magic is. That's where the magic is. I have 3 kids, and when they're doing sports, normally I'm there, and hopefully in my mind, it's like the first time they hit them, a ball to the face, whatever, I hope to be there, because that incident can change their mindset according to the game, according to the sport. Because if they get I don't know, playing soccer, they hit the ball and it's in their face and obviously it hurts, they're gonna cry, and then the teacher, the mother, I don't know, they're saying, "Okay, go out," and stuff. That will actually make their unconscious mind say, "This is dangerous. This is dangerous," and then they're afraid to return. Instead of you're there, you take them. All right, let's go. You see, okay, you tickle them here, touch. All right, nothing fractured. All right, water in the face. And then you reframe it. It's like, "Do you like this?" "Yeah, I love soccer." "I love soccer," actually, because they're crying, right? So what do we do when we're playing soccer? We have fun. Yeah, say it with me. We have fun. Yeah. We laugh at the other team. Yeah, sometimes we do. Yeah. Sometimes they laugh at us. Exactly. Sometimes we lose. Sometimes we win. And sometimes we get hurt. And yet we love our sport, so we go back into the field. So now this event, instead of being traumatized, and now it's, "Oh my God, he could have died." Now we start to install the mindset of an athlete. So if you're working with somebody that he's walking down the street and doesn't do sports and twists an ankle a little bit, and he's not a sports people, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die. 6 months in a chair." But if you're playing basketball and you twist an ankle, the first thought is, "Fuck, I'm going to be out for a week, 2 weeks without playing." It's not about the twist, not about the pain. Is that this event is going to take you away from the game. So same event, how you frame it, frame it. And that's how you should frame what people call failure. You should frame that experience of, how can I learned from it. Remember, an expert is somebody that has a lot of experiences, and a lot of experiences means that you have fucked up more than other people. That's what makes you an expert, because now your mind, when you see the case, you see whatever in your mind, you do transervational searches. It's like, all right, I think, and you're like, all right, let's go this way. And that's what an expert does, based on all the information that he lived. So now he can make a better decision without the person. Remember that when you're studying, you're learning knowledge. When you fuck up, you have experience. Now you have knowledge and experience, and now you start to put the dots, and you make them together. And that's where the beauty of it.
And when we are talking, because you have been talking a lot about in the medical field, how you can improve it, and that's amazing, really amazing how that can change. And you are talking something, a technique that is very important, that is the reframing. How we can use that reframing in business also. We have people here, believe in yourself, believe in your business. So in business, how that can help.
So repeat with me this phrase, all right? Okay. That means. So for example, if I tell you, my son is a liar, not a lawyer. Well, liar, almost the same. But my son is a liar. All right. Now tell me a good thing, beginning with that means.
That means
he is creative.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Exactly. So my gym teacher always yells at me when I'm doing exercise. So that means
he believes in me.
Exactly. That means that he believes in you. That means that he's passionate about it. All right. Yeah. So if you're running a business and you say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and suddenly you fucked up. So that's when you say that means, and you get only the good things that you can have, and the bad things are part of the learning curve.
Yeah.
So technically, when you say, okay, that means this, you're reframing failure into another thing. It's the same event, but in your mind, you're taking the experience that's going to give you information. So next time you have more information, so you can most likely make a better decision. Right? So that's how you can, one way that you can reframe failure, because failure technically is just another outcome, not the one that you want, but it's another outcome, right? So that's when you do feedback. All right, what can I get from this? That means this means this means this, in a good way. All right, so the twist in the ankle, that means that I'm going to be out 1 week. The ball in the face, that means that it hurts, and next time I should duck or be aware instead of looking at the girl in the, I don't know, outside. Make sense?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's part of the meaning that you give.
And what happened? How you can learn this? Because it's like, okay, I know that hypnosis is one thing that if you are maybe a coach or a different type of people, they want to learn because that can help. But I know also that you have something that, okay, I am a business guy. I don't want to be teaching this, but I want to be more effective in everything that I am doing, like the techniques that we are talking here about reframing and other stuff. So exactly. What are the things that they can start to see how they can apply NLP in their business?
Well, first of all, the very basic of NLP is that the mother of all skills is calibration. So you can calibrate visually a lot of things. You can calibrate auditory. You can calibrate kinesthetically. obviously olfactory and gustatory. So the skills that you develop are skills, are only one piece. Technically, a strategy or a technique is the sum of different skills. And the more stupid excuse that I have ever heard of people that just graduated from hypnotherapy, from their first practitioner, or people that study, I'm sorry for them, coaching, right? Is that I cannot practice because I don't have clients. Our world, the world is our playground. You can calibrate, create rapport with the person that's touching the avocados in the supermarket. You can calibrate the rate of speed and pace it, and then talk at the same speed as the person that is talking to you in the pharmacy. I mean, you can practice your skills, not techniques. All right, techniques is later, but your techniques, you can practice them everywhere. Obviously, your techniques, some. So begin with practicing the skills that you have learned. So that enables you to go even further without clients. Because if you want to change a client, or okay, I have a phobia. So what do you do before? Instead of asking, so tell me how many years? No. First, you begin with what's your desired state? What's your outcome? But before, what are you doing? You're calibrating, you're breathing at the same rate, you're using the same predicates or same representational system as the person, if it's visual and kinesthetic, and you're kind of like matching a little bit with the body posture, and then you check, right? You check 1 second if you have rapport, and suddenly the person touches their head or do this, or you just take a deep breath and the person takes a deep breath. Now you create a rapport. So that's when you're all right, good. So now you're connected into an unconscious level, same line of thinking. So once you have this, that's when you're like, all right, good. Tell me what is your desired outcome. But look at all the things that you did even before you asked them, what do you want? What's your desired outcome? So each one of those skills, Alejandro, you can practice everywhere. If the person breathes and speaks, you can practice.
Yeah, no, and what you are saying is very important, because sometimes we are not thinking that is that important to become the person that you want to become. And it doesn't matter if you are in business, you are only a leader inside of your business. It's like, why I need to learn these skills? And it's because you want to be more effective when you are communicating anything that you're communicating inside of your with your people, with the customers, with everybody that you are talking, the stakeholders. I don't know, whoever you need to connect. It's like, okay, first learn to connect with the rapport, and then start to communicate, because you are in the same line.
But building rapport, actually, you need at least 3 or 4 skills, at least. So each skill you can practice daily, whatever you want, right? Talking on the phone, outside, with your kids, with your co-workers. And what's your excuse? No, I need clients so I can practice techniques. What are you going to do practicing a technique if your skills suck? Oh, this doesn't work. No, you don't work because you don't work on yourself.
Yeah, that's important. So, Juan Antonio, how people can connect with you if they want to know more about what you are teaching, if they are going even with some pains or anything that they are going through, that they want to understand if you can help them or not?
Yeah, well, let me get one thing clear. It's not only the medical things that I do. Now, obviously, I help people to improve, learn a language faster, take out their anxiety, depression, everything that my students that are psychologists and psychiatrists called pathology in our mind. And when you learn NLP, it's a strategy that they run unconsciously, and the consequences is the name that they put. Phobia, anxiety, but actually it's a process, right? So all of my social media is Vivir, PNL. Yeah, it's live in Spanish, Vivir, and P&L. So anything that you need, I'm available. And thank you so much for your invitation. It's always a pleasure to talk to people that want to listen and then learn. Because remember, when somebody teaches you a skill, it's like when you go to the gym and the guy says, "All right, grab these ropes, inhale, do this movement." And it's like, "Okay, do you understand?" Yes. And suddenly you go because you understood. Practices in a skill is the same thing as developing a muscle. You need to improve on your technique, and eventually the muscle will go as you want to grow, thin. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that you need to practice on your skills like it was a sport.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, and I know that we're going to have you. I hope that very soon again to continue talking about other stuff. I
My
also
pleasure.
know that you are doing a lot of seminars and webinars, like all the time. So if anybody has any question or is like, okay, I want to learn a little bit more of what Juan Antonio is talking, you can reach him directly with Vivir PNL, or you
Yeah.
can reach me and I can send it to him. So it's okay. Thank you, Juan Antonio, for this time
Thank you. Thank you
today.
for your time.
So
I'll
this
see
show
you
can
soon.
also be, yeah, this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out SpanglishWorld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, Juan Antonio. Thank you all. See you next time.
Háblame. Todo bien.